Hey guys, this is a video of King Joe's contest. Um, so he wants to know your favorite teams, football, baseball, and hockey, your childhood hero, and your favorite comic book. So I'm gonna go with the comic books first. My favorite comic book. Instead of saying my favorite comic book, I'm gonna go with my favorite story arc, which I have two of, or three if you count Knight's End or Knight's Quest. Some people count that as one. I count it as two. Knight's End and Knight's Quest from the early 90s, mid 90s, somewhere around there, when Bane breaks Batman's back. Batman never loses, but this time he did. He lost. I mean, sometimes Batman will lose in a fight against Superman. Sometimes he'll win. But I'm talking about against a real villain. Batman finally lost to Bane, and that made at the time that made me Bane fan just because he was able to break Batman's back. That's a Knight's End. In Knight's Quest, since Batman, Bruce Wayne, gets his back broken, he needs a new Batman. So he hires Azrael Batman, who is too vicious to be Batman. So Batman, Bruce Wayne, has to, after his back heals, he has to try to fight Azrael and take out Azrael Batman, who Azrael has better technology in his bat suit than Bruce Wayne Batman. So that makes for an interesting story arc. But my favorite story arc of all time would have to be the death of Superman. Now we all know Superman just don't lose unless he fights Batman. Batman and Superman, they fought a couple of times and the winner goes back and forth to each one. But this time, Superman, he lost to Doomsday, and I read that I had that trade paperback, and I read that quite a few times, probably more than 3 or 4 times. I read that, and even the opening of that story arc when this character, we don't know who he is yet as we're reading it. He's punching his way through whatever it is, look like a giant safe or something underground, and he wipes out everybody. He even wipes out Supergirl, just with one punch. So if he's that powerful, obviously he's going to be a match for Superman. And they knock out punch at the end. That is just great. And even the final scene where Superman's laid dead and Lois Lane is holding Superman and the cape is in the background, flapping in the wind. Just perfectly done. That is my favorite story arc of all time. And King Joe also wants to know my childhood hero. I don't know if he means fictional or a real character. Uh, if I pick a real character, I obviously have to say my parents because living in a bad neighborhood, my dad taught me how to handle myself, so that comes in handy. But also my mom because living piss poor when I was a kid, growing up wasn't easy to do. She managed to do that with 3 kids. But fictional, fictional childhood character, I haven't really even thought of that one. I have to say, I have to say, I don't know. I kind of like Superman because even with all the power he has, he doesn't use it for evil. He could easily take over Earth and become the king of Earth, but he doesn't. I mean, that to me that's saying something. I'll probably have to pick Superman for fictional childhood hero. And also, he wants to know my favorite sports teams, which is he mentioned football, baseball, and hockey, which I don't watch baseball and hockey as much. But if I do pick a favorite sports team for those two, I have to say, obviously, I have to say, because I live in the Pittsburgh area, I live in McKeesport, so I have to say the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Pittsburgh Pirates, just because they're my home teams. But well, Pittsburgh Steelers for the football, but I can go in better depth with football. My favorite team of all time would be the '70s Steelers. The only team to win at the time, the only team to win 3 Super Bowls, and then they win a Super Bowl a year later, becoming the only team to win 4 Super Bowls. And they actually doubled the amount of Super Bowls the other team had, which was 2. That'd be like now, since the Steelers has 6 Super Bowls. That'd be like now if the Minnesota Vikings had 12 Super Bowls, something like that. Really ridiculous amount. So the '70s Steelers would be my favorite team of all time. But I didn't get to watch the '70s Steelers. I was born in '78, so I didn't get to watch them. But the team my favorite NFL team I was able to watch would be the early '90s Buffalo Bills, which I think I mentioned that in my last video. They're the only team. Not even the '70s Steelers did what they did. They won 4 consecutive AFC championships. That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. So they're my favorite team. Matter of fact, whenever I play my Tecmo Super Bowl on, you can see my hand. I'm using my hand to talk. Whenever I play Tecmo Super Bowl on the NES, I would pick mostly, about 99% of the time, I would pick the Buffalo Bills, because of course that game was in the early '90s when they were the best team at that time. And I also want to give credit though to the early '90s Cowboys, because they were a force to be reckoned with. So they were pretty damn good. I'm talking about the '90s teams here, but I don't really have a favorite mid '90s team. The 1995 Pittsburgh Steelers was pretty good. But I don't want to keep mentioning the Steelers. Moving on to the late '90s, the 1999 Rams was damn good. They're probably my favorite late '90s team of that time. 1999 St. Louis Rams, pretty damn good. Uh, I have to say, the Falcons was a good team, but they weren't my favorite. It's like when I seen the Falcons doing so good, when I'm used to them doing so bad, it was like Twilight Zone. They only lost 2 games in, what was it, 1998, and the Vikings in 1998 only lost 1 game, or was it '97, something like that. They only lost 1 game. But I have to say, in the late '90s, my favorite team was the Rams. Of all time, my favorite team is the '70s Steelers. I think that's it. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. And this is for King Joe's contest, which I'm leaving a link to his channel below. I won his last contest last year. Got some good stuff from him last year, comic books and whatnot. You guys, if you're into that kind of stuff, you might want to think about checking out his channel, maybe even entering his contest. Thanks for watching, guys.